Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show that's all about speaking your truth, sharing your stories, and sparking the conversations that matter most. I'm your host, Rodney W. Collins, and this is the Speak On It Show. On this show, we dive deep into the thoughts, experiences, and ideas that shape our world. It's a place where voices are heard, perspectives are celebrated, and discussions are not just encouraged, but cherished. Whether it's culture, politics, personal growth, or just life's everyday adventures, we're here to explore it all. We've got engaging interviews, thought-provoking discussions, and sometimes we might even stir the pot a little bit. Speak On The Show is where we challenge the status quo, celebrate diversity, and engage in conversations that make us think, laugh, and grow. So get ready to be inspired, get ready to connect, and most importantly, get ready to speak your truth. Without further ado, let's jump into today's episode. It's time for the Speak On It Show with your host, Rodney W. Collins. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome. I am Rodney W. Collins, and this is the Speak On It Show. First and foremost, giving honor to God who allows me to come at you in this manner on a weekly basis. I've been gone for 2 weeks. Had some things I need to take care of. I'm back. We're going to get this thing rolling. You know, it's good to be back. Good to be seen rather than viewed. In the infamous words, my brother Reggie P. Rowe, it's good to be seen rather than viewed. I appreciate y'all for tuning in this morning. Everybody from all over, wherever you may be. Brian Hoodie, good morning, my brother. Appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. And let's go ahead and get these formalities out the way. You are watching, we're broadcasting live, rather, on the Rodney W. Collins channel on Facebook and YouTube every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific. YouTube and Facebook, Rodney W. Collins channel. Go there, like, share, subscribe. Do what you do with the other things you follow, share, subscribe. You know, the normal things you do with the podcasts and all the different things you watch on social media and everything. Terrence Collins, good morning, my brother. Appreciate you. Reggie P. Rowe, my brother, good morning. James Battle, good morning. Appreciate you. Sabrina Wooten, good morning, cuz. Appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for everybody for tuning in wherever you are around the globe, you know, United States of America, wherever. I appreciate your support each and every time I am able to turn this on Saturday morning and give y'all some information. So now I want to get into a couple things before we get into the meat of what the show is about today. But I want to start off with this because we've talked about this many times, but I really want to start off with it this morning because of the season that we're in, the check-in. You've heard me talk about this many times, the check-in as far as calling, checking on people, making sure they're good. This week, we've seen a tragic ending to a young man's life, 24-year-old, and I don't want to get his name wrong, Dallas Cowboy Marshawn Nealon, 24 years old. I don't know all the details. I've seen a little bit here and a little bit there, but what I do know is he committed suicide. There's a big thing about everything that went on. I'm not going to get into that because the bottom line is we've lost a young man at 24 years old who had the whole world in front of him. Now, we don't know what he was dealing with. We don't know what he was going through. There's a lot of people assuming the things that he was dealing with or what he was going through. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. What I'm going to tell you is this. None of us know what battles anybody's fighting other than ourselves. And I say that because there's a lot of times where we get caught up in the fact of thinking we know what we truly don't know. But what we do know is we can reach out to each and everybody within our phone at any time and any day to make sure that they're doing okay. Now, whether they tell you or not of what their status is or how they're feeling about themselves is one thing. But the fact that you picked up the phone and called that person or reached out to that person could make the difference in how that brother, sister, or other sees the next day or the rest of that day. The check-in is very important. And we need to look at it accordingly because we don't know the battles that anybody's fighting at this time. So I wanted to put that out there first. You know, I always talk about the check-in, check on everybody, check on the people you ain't heard from or anything like that, especially during this time because we're coming up on the holiday seasons. You got Thanksgiving coming up, then you got Christmas coming up. Holidays are a hard time for a lot of people who have lost loved ones, who don't have their mother, father, kids Anybody that you can think of in their lives right now during these holidays, it can be hard. So I encourage each and every one of you to pick up the phone and reach out to somebody. Just do a check-in. Make sure they're okay. If you know there's somebody that doesn't have family close to you or that in the area that they're in and you see them daily, invite them over when you're breaking bread for Thanksgiving. Open your doors to those people, especially now. We're going to get in this a little bit later with the economy the way it is and what they're doing with the SNAP benefits and all these different things. You know, someone told me this years ago, right before I went to the Philippines. And he said, just remember, you can't save the world. Now, I didn't understand it at the time, but the Philippines is, you know, I'm not trying to be derogatory. No, the Philippines is a poor country. And he told me this, but I didn't know anything about the Philippines till I got there. But once I got there, I understood what he meant. You can't save everyone, but you can help anyone. You can't save everyone, but you can help anyone if you choose to. And especially during this time of what we got going on with the government shutdown and the SNAP benefits and all these different things that are going on, now is the time where you reach out and you help each other and do the things that we do, that we were raised in the right way to do. That's in our value system that we were raised on through our families. With that, I want to lead into this. Pay it forward. I bring this up because I'm all about taking care of people when I can. No matter what the situation is, if I walk into a restaurant, if I'm going to eat somewhere and I see somebody maybe sitting by themselves or whatever, I'll ask the waitress, hey, give me the check. And I'm not bragging on this. I'm just giving you this as an example of things that we can do just to pay it forward. Because sometimes what we do is we get caught up in the fact of where we're at without looking at the fact of where someone else may be. This week, me and my wife went out. We were running errands and everything. And I said, hey, let's just go by Denny's, get some pancakes and some eggs and stuff, you know, little sustenance, because we had been running errands. So we go in there and we're sitting there eating, and there was a person that came in, brother walked in. He looked like he had just came from golf. He sat behind us. They sat him behind us. And there was another brother walked in, had his veteran hat on, Vietnam veteran hat. They sat him in front of us. So we're sitting there and we're talking and everything. And I told my wife as we were eating, I said, you know what, I'm going to take care of, because we heard the conversation with the veteran in front. And I said, I'm going to go ahead and take care of his bill. So I asked the waiter, I said, hey, go ahead and give me his bill and give me the one's bill behind me. Not thinking anything of it. So when you bring my check. So he brings the check and there's only one. I said, hey, where's my check? He said, oh, someone already took care of you. Wait a minute. Someone already took care of me. What do you mean? Someone already paid your bill. So I say this because we're sitting there looking to take care of others when out of the blue, someone had already taken care of us. These are the things that I think in society as a whole right now, we need to look at the big picture. It's not always about you. It's about those around you and what you can do to help somebody in that time. Now, I'm pretty good as far as where I'm at, where I'm sitting at, but those things could change snap of a finger. But I bring this up to say, when you're doing goodness from your heart, it comes back on you tenfold. Don't hesitate to do the right thing that's in your heart at the right time for somebody, not expecting something to come back to you, but just because you're doing it. And me being the person I am, I'm asking my wife, who you think did it? Who you think paid for a meal? We looking around, ain't nobody in the restaurant. So it just shows you that blessings will come to you even when you least expect it. Even when you least expect it. So open your heart, open your mind, open your wallet. Help people out in this time if you can. I'm not telling everybody to go broke doing it, but if you can, they got a lot of food pantries out here now that you can donate to and different things like that. Just give back. That's all I'm saying. Pay it forward. Give it back. Now, Veterans Day. I think it's Tuesday. Is it Tuesday? Tuesday is Veterans Day? Yeah, Tuesday is Veterans Day. I'm a little torn this year. Not about Veterans Day, but about how we're going to celebrate Veterans Day, because a lot of veterans are suffering right now. You know, there's a lot of veterans that were in the government service, that were civil servants in the government that don't have jobs anymore. There's a lot of You know how we always talk about those free meals? There's a lot of people going to be out there for them free meals this year, even if they never did them before, simply because of the way the economy is, what's going on, all those type things. Thank a veteran. Veterans Day is Tuesday. I'm a little ahead of time. But I wanted to bring this up in this, and this may hit some people a little wrong, but I'm just going to put it out there because I want you to look at the bigger picture of you have those that have served this country honorably, and then you have those who ran from doing their service, and then later on in life, they try to tell veterans and the military active duty what they should be doing. Just case in point. I didn't know this at the time until I was doing preparation for the show yesterday, but Dick Cheney passed away. Did not know that. Former Vice President Dick Cheney, Secretary of Defense Dick Cheney, and all that. But did you know? Dick Cheney received a total of 5 military deferments during the Vietnam era. Something that's never really talked about. See, I'm bringing this up during this Veterans Day weekend because I want people to really understand that there's a lot of people in politics who have never served a day for this country as far as in the military, but are quick to send our military off to war to fight wars all about this, all about money. Dick Cheney was one of them. I'm not trying to talk about the man and how he's dead, but this is something I just found out when I was looking at it. Y'all bear with me. Cheney initially received a 2S student deferment while attending Yale University. After failing to maintain his grades, he lost his deferment. He then obtained a 3A family deferment due to his marriage and subsequent fatherhood. 5 deferments. And then we already know about the person that sits in the Oval Office now with his 5 deferments. Military deferments during the Vietnam War. 4 of those were education deferments. 1 was a medical deferment classified as a 1Y letter, reclassified as a 4F due to bone spurs in his feet, in his heels. This allowed him to avoid military service. Now, I don't bring this up to slight anybody who chooses not to serve. Don't get me wrong. I bring this up on this Veterans Day weekend leading into us celebrating Veterans Day. There's a lot of us that chose to serve honorably to this country that don't get the respect we should get simply because of our melanin content. But then you have those who deferred because they had a complexion for the protection and didn't have to serve during the Vietnam War when they sent our young brothers over there to fight a war that people don't push back on the hypocrisy of what they say and what they do. So this Veterans Day, I'm giving a shout out to for anybody that has ever served this country in a veteran status. Thank you. Thank you. Because you stood up at the time, and especially our Vietnam veterans who didn't have a choice at the time because of the draft, who couldn't get deferments simply because they didn't have the complexion for the protection or they didn't have a parent in a certain position to get them out of going to Vietnam. Those are the veterans that I'm thankful for. Not these fake love this country type people that we see that sit in these political offices and try to tell the military what they should be doing or want to send our young men off to war consistently because it's all about the money grab that they want to make it. Now, I know I'm going on a tirade and I don't want to take away from Veterans Day this weekend, but I figured I'd do it today rather than Tuesday. I want to get it out my system because it's something that bothers me. Just want to put that out there. So when you sit here and you see them talking about taking veterans benefits or doing these type of things to veterans that have served this country, remember, most of the people that are trying to take the benefits from your veterans that have served this country proudly and honorably never served a day in their life at any time because they always found a way to get out of it. I'm going to get off my soapbox on that. Just wanted to bring that up. Good morning, everybody. I appreciate y'all tuning in. We're going to get into this. And we're going to go ahead and jump into this right now. It's been a minute, y'all, so y'all bear with me. In the news, let's go. In the news. There's a lot of things that have gone on. Y'all know I've been gone for a minute, but I want to get into some of these things. But we had some elections the other day, and there was a mandate, per se, that they say. There was a certain mandate that showed that Democrats are going to win some seats back and everything. And now we got this big kerfuffle, as they say in New York, about Mamdani. Zohran Mamdani is his name. And I reckon back to a time when Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was walking the face of this earth, and he was pushing for equality in this country. And during that time, they gave him every name you could think about because they didn't agree with what he was doing to get equal rights for everyone. They're doing the same thing now with Mamdani in a different manner, though. They're calling him a radical and democratic socialist, a jihadist and anti-American, anti-Semitic allegations. And then you got people criticizing, celebrities criticizing about the taxes in New York and all these different things. But the people have spoken. They have put this person in office. And see, they always want us to sit back. And like we said, when the election came around, we didn't agree with what happened in 2020, with the election in 2024 when this person got into office. But at the same time, we're all fighting for pennies on the dollar right now because of this administration. But they made this guy out to be this Muslim terrorist that he's not, which I really, really have a problem with. Because they didn't listen to, they kind of listened to his policies and what he's going to do. And this is New York City. I seen acting mayor or sitting mayor Eric Adams, who got a pardon from Donald Trump. And that's why he decided to drop out of the race, because he gave him the pardon and they wanted Cuomo. And then you got the guy Sliwa, who wears the beret up there, Guardian Angels, who we seen back in the 80s, and he's still holding on to that little bit of hip hop he got left. But sometimes I think it's time for a new injection of new thought processes, and I don't think everybody's open to receiving that. What we've seen work up to this point is not working for everybody. So when you get a person like this to come in, and then the first thing they want to do is call them an Islamic terrorist and all these different things, it makes you wonder. Is it that only white men are supposed to serve in these political positions in order for this country to be great, as they say? Because that's the road we're going down. But there was a lot of African-American women that won governor positions in this election on Tuesday that they're not really talking about in different locations. But I want to say this while I'm talking about these elections. I want to say this one thing. Beware of wolves in sheep's clothing. Beware of wolves in sheep's clothing. And I say that because of this. If you've noticed, Marjorie Taylor Greene is singing a different tune right now. And the reason she's singing a different tune about what Donald Trump is doing and what this administration is doing is because she wanted to become the senator in Georgia. He wouldn't endorse her. So now she has an attitude against MAGA and Donald Trump because they didn't endorse her to run for Georgia. So now her verbiage that she's always carried, this MAGA flag, has changed. It's kind of shifted, where she now wants to make it seem like she's for the people because she's jockeying for position on her own because they're not supporting her the way she wanted to be supported. So now, while she's trying to pull you back in, thinking that you're on her side, this is one of the wolves in sheep's clothing that I'm talking about. The Democrat Fetterman, that was from Pennsylvania, that is now sitting in, is it Congress or Senate? I can't remember. But he is voting more with Republicans than he was Democrats. Now, there's certain things that you can straddle the fence on, but don't run as a Democrat and then show Republican statuses on everything you do. The reason I bring this up is we got elections coming up next year, the midterms. And in those midterms, you're going to see a lot of people trying to straddle the fence on what political party they're associated with. And this goes into what I talk about all the time as far as when we get ready to go vote, do your research. Find out who these people are and what their background is, because what I see coming is you're going to have a lot of people trying to straddle the fence to make it seem like they're not on that side, to get elected on this side, and then change their tone once they're in the seat. Be aware and beware of wolves in sheep's clothing. They can straddle the fence any way they want. They can tell you what you want to hear, and then once they get in there, they can change up, because it's all about power and control. And I want us to be very aware that these things happen consistently. You always see, every once in a while, you'll see a Democrat that's defected to the Republican Party, or a Republican defected to the Democratic Party, all the such, or you'll see one that Cuomo's a Democrat. Well, he ran in New York as an independent. Come on. Because Donald Trump supported him. So he didn't want to run as a Democrat. He ran as an independent just to get back into the political aspect of things that's going on in this country. Be aware. Be very aware. Because one thing I know for sure, two things for certain. If you allow these people to continue to infiltrate your mind, to think that they have your best interest in hand without doing your research, you're going to come up short. We're all going to come up short. And people are finding that out now. People are truly finding that out now with everything that's going on with the snap and the government shutdown. Ashley Sutton, good morning. Good morning. Appreciate your support. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Here we got it. This is from Bernice King, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s daughter. The President of the United States of America is appealing to the Supreme Court to allow him to starve Americans. Everybody needs to be woke right now. Wake up. The President of the United States went to the Supreme Court to have them to appeal the decision of a lower court that said you need to fund SNAP benefits across the board. He appealed to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court sided with him. This tells you and shows you that this administration does not have anyone's best interest in hand but the rich and wealthy. For instance, let me take this off here. For instance, nearly 42 million individuals are covered by the SNAP program. The average is $188 per person. Nearly 42 million people, individuals now, not households, individuals are covered by the SNAP program, which averages $188 per person. And the Supreme Court sided with him and says they temporarily block full payments of the SNAP benefits. The fate of SNAP has become a critical and ongoing flashpoint in the longest federal shutdown in U.S. history. Some of who, and the people, 42 million Americans depending on assistance to eat, some of whom already faced interruptions in food assistance due to the program's funding being in limbo. Now, if that 42 million number doesn't hit you, let me hit you with this. 1 in 5 kids rely on SNAP. 1 in every 5 kids in this country rely on SNAP. And this administration, this government, doesn't want to fund people to be able to eat. Let that marinate for a minute. That we're talking about children that are going to be unable to eat. They already took out the meals in the schools for young kids who don't, who are on these programs. But now we're talking about the money that is given to families for them to be able to get a nutritious meal. And I don't want to hear all these things about, the people on SNAP or these benefits or welfare, and they going out here, they buying steak and lobster. And I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear none of that. Because my thing has always been, if these people that are on these benefits decide to go out and buy steak and lobster with the $188 per person that they get, that means if they don't have enough steak and lobster to last them for the whole month, what are they going to do? So don't give me this, they buying steak and lobster. No, you don't know what they're buying. This is just a talking point that people want you to believe with not knowing the true essence of what they're buying. And when we talk about government assistance and everything, I always bring this up because I got in an argument one time, and y'all heard me say this before. I got in an argument with a guy when I was in school. And they were talking about all the government assistance going to people that shouldn't get it and all these different things. So the question I asked him, I said, do you have a home loan? He said, yeah. I said, you on government assistance? Do you have a student loan? Yes. You on government assistance? See, when you hear government assistance, everybody thinks it's all about the poor. Government assistance for the poor. Your house, your mortgage loan is government assistance. Your student loan is government assistance. So stop looking at people that need a hand up like they don't matter, or they don't care, or they're not doing what they need to do to get. If the economy, which we know prices are high now, think about what you can do or you cannot do with $188. I'll wait. Brian Hoodie, I think that SNAP money is gone. It's either in Venezuela or the new ballroom he building. Just my thoughts. And you may be right. Because we got money to do everything else. We got money to do everything else. But we don't have money to take care of the people in this country. And then that old thing they talking about, well, the Democrats were giving government benefits to illegal immigrants. That's false. They're not eligible for any type of government assistance. So put that narrative to the side. But that's for all those people in the cheap seats. But while we're on this, I want to bring this up because I'm going to jump around today. Because I got a lot to catch up on. But I want y'all to really think about this. The government has been shut down 38 days, 39, almost 40 days, whatever it is, 38, 39, 40, it doesn't matter. It's still shut down. Don't know the exact day. We got people fighting for health care to continue having people's health care, which is why they say the government is shut down. They're blaming it on the Democrats because they don't want to come up with some kind of resolution or all this kind of stuff. And in the meantime, James Battle, the government subsidizes millionaires and billionaires at a much higher percentage than they do poor people. Much greater. Much, much greater. If anybody wants to do the research, go back and pull up the big, beautiful bill, or you can pull up the tax breaks that he gave them the last time that they extended into this time. Biden even extended, which tells you none of these parties are truly for the regular people that we talk about on a daily basis on here. But I digress. Here's the point I want to make. While we have people out here wondering where their next meal is going to come from, we have people working and not getting paid because the government as a whole is shut down. Nobody's getting paid or anything like this. You have this person, this visual in the White House. This is this week at a Food and Drug Administration meeting, or they're talking about something with the Food and Drug Administration or something in the White House. This is your president sleep in the Oval Office during a press conference this week. This week. This is the person that you voted for. And I'm going to continue saying that because this shows that this man could give a damn about anybody or anything. And this is the same person who called Joe Biden Sleepy Joe, but we have seen this person sleep in the office at Wimbledon and numerous other places, sleep like he doesn't have a care in the world. Why? Because he feels that he is untouchable no matter what the hell he does, and people still support this shit. Still. He's on duty. Let's talk to my veterans. He's on duty. If you were active duty and you were sitting at your desk like this, what would happen? There would be consequences and repercussions. Sleep on duty. This is supposedly the representative of the free world. Sleep during a televised press conference. And then the only reason he woke up from that slumber that he's in, the only reason was there was a commotion because someone with the press conference they was doing fainted. So everybody was rushing him, and in that rush to him and him hearing all that noise, he woke up. And when he stood up, he stood there at the Resolute desk looking at the man, and then turned and just looked at the cameras. Never once asked how the man was doing. anything like that. He just stood because he had just woken from his peaceful slumber. In the Oval Office that he feels protects him from anything and everything that may go on around him in this country or outside of these borders. And this is what they voted for. This image should stick in everyone's minds who decided that this was the best person for the job. This image should be plastered everywhere to show everybody the same things that he tried to put on Joe Biden is the same things that are going on with him now as far as his cognitive health and everything else that he tried to put on, per se, Sleepy Joe. But they don't see this. They ignore this. And the excuse they say is, well, he's working so hard. He's working so hard. He's up late at night doing so many things. No, he's up late at night sending messages on Truth Social and Twitter to the people that follow him to make them feel as though he's doing something. And from this picture, it shows you he ain't doing. Because we can go back to leading up to the election and know that this is the same person that said, I know nothing about Project 2025 and everything he's doing is written out in Project 2025. I took the liberty to go back and read some parts of Project 2025 yesterday to see exactly where we're at. And he's on pace to do everything that he said that Project 2025 says they were going to do. Everything. Everything. And this time, November 5th, 3 days ago, last year, this is what the people went to the polls and chose to put in the Oval Office. This. Not someone with integrity. Not someone who is not a convicted felon. Not someone who has bankrupt many businesses or anything. I go down the list over and over again, but y'all know what I'm saying. But this is what they wanted. And because of this shutdown right now that he says is the Democrats' fault, now they're actually canceling flights. It's at 10% right now. They say it could go up to at least 20% if the government doesn't open. So all these things are happening right in front of our eyes. We're paying attention. We're watching. He's sleeping. Make it make sense. Sleep. Peacefully. And nobody there took the time to just tap him and say, Mr. President, we're live on TV. Wake up. Nobody. That shows you that they know that he don't give a damn about nobody, and they don't either. Brown Hoodie. He can't accomplish anything in Project 2025 without his enablers. Yeah, he's a figurehead. But everything they said they were going to do is happening. This, what we're talking about with the SNAP benefits, written out plainly in Project 2025. All the government jobs that they eliminated, written out in Project 2025. Everything. But y'all said, the people that voted for this, the ones I talk about in the cheap seats up there, they said he wouldn't do that. He said, no, he has Agenda 47. When is the last time you heard anything about Agenda 47? That was just a cover. Smoke and mirrors. That's it. But you want me to believe that this person here, and I keep saying, in his peaceful slumber, gives a damn about people like me or people like you? Because most of them that voted for this, majority, are the ones losing SNAP benefits or not getting SNAP benefits. Most of them that voted for him are the ones that don't have a job to go to right now because the government shut down. But y'all okay with this? Doesn't have it, it's okay until the rabbit got the gun, right? and also the Democrats came up with a proposal on Friday to end the shutdown. The plan, which Democrats characterized as good faith offer to Republicans, would codify a 1-year extension of healthcare subsidies that are set to expire at the start of 2026. Raising premiums for millions of Americans, the tax credits for Obamacare enrollees are the issue at the center of the 38-day funding crisis. And I want to stop there before I go any further, because I want to bring this up too. Do you remember? Let me take him off screen. I'm tired of looking sleeping. Do you remember when he was running for office and they asked him he said he wanted to get rid of the Affordable Care Act? And they asked him, did he have a plan? And he said, I have some sort of plan, or I have some semblance of a plan or whatever. Well, right now, and where we're at here now, and what they're trying to do with the Affordable Care Act and not extending these subsidies that go along with it to keep your costs down, there still is no plan. There still is no plan on how they're going to actually fix it, or what they have to replace it, or any of the such. There's never been a plan. What they want to do is eliminate this simply because of the person that put it in place. They don't have a plan. They don't want a plan. They don't want Americans to have health care unless you can afford health care at this level. They don't want the normal everyday person to be able to afford health care. The more they die off, the less they have to worry about. Sounds graphic, but true. So when you talk about the health care and what the Democrats are coming to the table with, I think it's all smoke and mirrors no matter how you look at it. Because at the end of the day, they don't want a deal. They would rather keep this government shut down through the holidays, all the way into next year, and try to hold the Democrats responsible. But at the end of the day, the whole Congress and the Senate are responsible for this shutdown. I'm not going to give anybody a pass on this, because we kept kicking it down the road with these continuing resolutions without coming up with a budget. And now here we are. And now you got to make deals in order to get another continuing resolution to go through, where it doesn't work. It's not working. It's not working. With the healthcare fight, I found these 5 key factors about the policy, about why they don't want to do it. The public supports the subsidies. Public wants the subsidies for the Affordable Care Act, so they don't have to pay a lot of money out of pocket. The issue is urgent since open enrollment starts soon. Open enrollment started November 1st. Today's November 8th. People aren't able to go in and renew their enrollment. Premiums are set to shoot up next year. When health insurers were setting their rates for 2026, they factored in the rising cost of healthcare, plus the possibility that subsidies would expire and drive the healthiest people out of the ACA marketplaces. When researchers at KFF analyzed 2026 insurance filings, they found that premiums will double for many consumers next year. On average, we're expecting premium payments by enrollees to increase by 114% if these enhanced tax credits expire. Sky-high premiums might drive people to risk it and go uninsured, she says. The Congressional Budget Office estimates that 4 million people will become uninsured in the next few years if the enhanced tax credits expire. So they don't want you to have insurance. They don't want people to have insurance. This is where big business, pharmaceutical, insurance companies, they raise the premiums. They raise them so high so you won't be able to afford it. Most enrollees live in the states that Trump won. Isn't that ironic? Most enrollees in the affordable health care live in states that Trump won. Geographically, more than 3 in 4 enrollees live in states that President Trump won in 2024, according to KFF. Part of that is due to the fact that some southern states have seen dramatic growth in enrollment recently. In 6 states, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, Georgia, and West Virginia, enrollment has more than tripled in 5 years. Tripled. The subsidies are expensive for the government. Subsidies that kept costs down for consumers cost the federal government a lot of money. The Congressional Budget Office estimates that it could cost the government $350 billion over the next decade if the enhanced subsidies were extended permanently. 350 billion over the next decade. But we got money to send to other countries. We got money to give to, Venezuela, Argentina, whatever it is. We got money to send to Ukraine in the name of defense. We got money to build a damn ballroom on the side of the White House where he tore something historically as the East Wing to build a ballroom laced in gold. And they're saying that the government's not paying for it. All these different donors are paying for it. Trust me, we're paying for it. One way or another, taxpayers are paying for it. You believe that if you want. 350 billion over the next decade. So when we talk about these things, when we talk about the government shutdown, SNAP benefits, and everything, and I brought this up before, and I want to reiterate it today. Everything that this administration has done this time and last time has not been to do anything to benefit the people. Everything has been done to take away from the people. We're losing benefits. We're losing jobs. We're losing health care. We're losing the mainstays of what keeps this country going. Why? Why is that? Because in a dictatorship, they hand out these things. They ration to you what you're going to get and what you're not going to get. You see the writing on the wall for those in the cheap seats who said this would never happen? It's happening. But you still don't want to admit to it because you say, yeah, I voted for this. Yeah, you voted for this. Each and every part of this you voted for. And I'll ask this question to those people. How has this made your life better? How? How has anything that this administration has done, first time and this time, how has it made your life better? How has it made your living conditions better? And then I'll ask this question to caveat that. How has it impacted those that you say you love and made their lives better? I'll wait. Because I'm going to go out on a limb and say, you can't. You can't name anything that he has done or this administration has done the first time or this time that has made your life better. The comments are open. I know y'all be snake watching. Come on. Help me. What has this administration done to make your life better? Because we can go down the line of different administrations and name at least one thing that has benefited you from an administration being in office. What has benefited you from this administration the first time and this time? I'll wait. And the reason I wait is because it's going to take you some time to find something logical and something sustainable. Not just something off the top of your head. Not just the fact that you wear a hat that says make America great again. Not just because you run around here with flags hanging off the back of your truck and all this kind of stuff talking about make America great and Trump 2028 and all these different things. What has this administration done to make your life better? Food prices aren't down. Gas prices aren't down. Housing prices are up. Rent is up. What has this administration done to make your life better? And you can't say your job because most people don't have a job right now. Help me. I'll wait. But I'm not going to wait too long because the show will be over by the time you come up with something tangible. Something tangible. Not just something off the top of your head. Something tangible. You can't. You really can't. And the reason you can't is because there is nothing. There is nothing. There is nothing. Nothing. But I want to talk about this person here real quick. Do y'all know who this is? I don't mean to laugh, but I mean to laugh. Where'd I put it? Where'd I put that? Let me find my notes, y'all. I'm sorry. Woo. This one was a doozy for me. This was the Lieutenant Governor of Virginia. Lieutenant Governor of Virginia. And she was running for governor. Winsome Earl Sears is her name. She was running for the governor of Virginia. She was lieutenant governor. Now she's running for governor. She didn't win. She lost to Abigail Spanberger, a Democrat. Now she's a Republican. But you know what she didn't get? She didn't get an endorsement from the person that was asleep in the Oval Office the other day. She didn't get an endorsement from him. Can you figure out why? She has all the talking points that they talk about in the Republican Party. She was good under Youngkin as the lieutenant governor of Virginia. She talked about trans children or whatever, that big argument they're having in Virginia about having them shower with other kids and all these kind of things. She filled all the squares to be MAGA. But he didn't endorse her. Her opponent won 57.2% of the vote in Virginia. She received 42.6%. Why didn't she win? Did it have to do with politics? Why didn't he endorse her? He didn't like her political views? I don't need to tell you why. I'll just tell you some other examples. Byron Donalds. Everybody knows Byron Donalds. He wants to run for governor of Florida. The man sitting in the Oval Office hadn't endorsed him. You know, these folks that stick their necks out for this administration, people of color I'm talking about, to say things like slavery wasn't as bad as they say it was, and worst thing that could have ever happened was welfare for us and broke up the black family and all these different talking points that they use. But he hasn't endorsed any of them for the positions they're running for. None of the ones that stuck their neck out for him are in any way in his cabinet. Why? I'll let y'all figure that out. Y'all know the answer. Melanin content plays a big part. And you can say it doesn't because there's some people who say, oh, well, the HUD secretary is black. When's the last time you seen him? You don't see him in those meetings, in the cabinet meetings or anything, do you? So when people want to push back on the fact of, or say that, why is everything about race? Everything is about race because everything was made about race. All I do is talk about the fact of what I see and what you see that you don't want to talk about. She was good enough to be lieutenant governor, but not good enough to be governor. So they allowed the Democrat to win Virginia over her. What does that say? And a lot of people put the onus on and say, well, Virginia being where it's at and where it's located, there's a lot of people in Virginia that lost government jobs. Yeah. However, if you felt strongly about being MAGA, whether you lost your job or not, you still would have voted for her. If that's what the true agenda is, in my opinion. So, which way do you go? Which way do you go? We'll see how it turns out as time goes. But one thing we know for sure, Virginia don't have a black female governor. And I don't laugh because she's not worthy. I laugh because she expected to win simply because she's a Republican. But she didn't get the endorsement that she thought she was going to get. Let's go. Straight talk, straight talk, straight talk. Today's straight talk, I want to touch on something real quick. And it goes back to what I was talking about just a few minutes ago. Last year, about this time, yesterday, November 7th, I put a post up specifically about the election. And I said, what now? And I said, today I find myself wrestling with a deep disappointment as I reflect on the outcome of this election. Watching so many support a so-called leader whose words are meant to harm, divide, and demean has left me questioning the direction of our nation. It's painful to see that rhetoric of exclusion and disrespect could be met with such widespread approval. But in moments like this, I look to those who came before me, those who sacrificed everything for justice, freedom, and dignity. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, and my father, John William Collins. These are the heroes who inspire me, who remind me what it means to stand strong in the face of adversity. They knew that the road to justice would never be easy. They knew it would be filled with resistance and setbacks, yet they never gave up, and neither will I. Their sacrifices call me to stay in this fight, to keep pushing, to keep standing up for what's right, even when it feels like the odds are against us. And I wrote this last year, after the election, after I had time to think about what happened. And what I realized happened was not the fact of being shocked. I won't say I was shocked. I was more disappointed than shocked. Because I looked out and I thought about all those people that I've met in my travels that have touched my life one way or another, that decided to vote for this administration at that time. Not looking at the impact that it's going to have on everybody in this country. Not looking at the fact that this person had no thoughts of caring about anybody but himself. I looked at all these things from a perspective of, what now? I looked at all these things from a perspective of, wow, that's what you chose? That's the hill you decided to die on with this person? With everything you know about this person, this is who you chose. And it still stings today. Because I've had conversations with people who decided to vote for this person. This was early, nothing recent, early. They came up with all kind of talking points about why they didn't vote for Kamala Harris. But in all those conversations, they could never tell me anything tangible on why they voted for him. As I look back, those conversations were more of, well, she wasn't this and she couldn't do this and this last administration wasn't this. But they never could tell me why they voted for him. And I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say even to this day, they can't give me a tangible reason on why they voted for him. Which tells me more about them than it does about him. Let's say that again for the people in the cheap seats. It tells me more about you than it does about him. Because I've said on this show many, many times, you're either an ally or a lie. An ally or a lie. Allies are in the fight with me. A lie perpetrates a fraud when they're around me, but speak a different language when they're away from me. So I say this because a year and a couple of days after this last election for President of the United States, we have seen more divisiveness in this country probably since, and I don't want y'all to jump down my throat for this, probably since Jim Crow. People would say the Civil Rights Act. No, Jim Crow. Let's talk Jim Crow. Let's go that far back. Because the divisiveness during the Civil Rights movement You still had the allies that were there fighting with us. But during Jim Crow, they weren't coming out in those type numbers to support us. Let's just be honest. So I say that because I look now and I see the atmosphere. It's kind of shifting. It's kind of kind of. I say kind of. I say it ain't. I didn't say it was. I said it's kind of shifting. It's kind of shifting in the direction of, damn, I did vote for that. But it's starting to affect some people close to me. It's starting to affect some people close to me. Did I do the right thing? But now that the chickens have come home to roost and it's affecting you and the people that you love, 1 year later, are you looking at things differently than you did then? Because at the time, you thought it was only going to affect the people they call illegal immigrants and people of color. You didn't think that it would affect people like you, or people that look like you, or people with lack of melanin content, per se. I say that because there's a certain time in our lives where we have to step back and realize what we've done wrong, decisions that we've made, and how it has impacted not only us, but the people around us. I'm a true proponent in the fact that there comes a time where you have to reflect not only on what you did, but the people that were impacted by the decision that you made. 1 year later, you all that voted for this should be in that phase. And asking yourself honestly, what the hell did I do? What did I do? Because everything that I'm seeing is not making America great. Everything that I'm seeing is causing more division. Everything that I look at has no diversity, equity, or inclusion in anything that goes on in this country right now. But I didn't think it would happen like this. But I let me just say this. That's just me. Because I know as well as you do, ain't none of them people thinking like that. You know why? Because they could give a damn. I just wanted to put it out there because that's a reflection of people with integrity. That's a reflection of people that take the time to sit back and analyze what they could have done differently that is now affecting everyone. That's what most people would do. But when you have people with a superiority complex embedded in their mindset and their thinking, trust me when I tell you, that reflection that I was just doing will never happen. And if you think for 1 minute, I want to speak to all y'all right now. If you think for 1 minute that any one of the people that you know that voted for this is going to have an aha moment or a come to Jesus moment that makes them realize what they did was wrong and now they want to, atone for their mistake, don't wait on it. Please don't wait on it. Because it's not going to happen. Because these people are so entrenched in the fact that this is happening now, but it's going to get better. This is the mindset. Oh, it's not going to stay this way. It's going to get better. It's going to get better. That's what they're waiting on. But when people start losing houses, lives, they gave them the benefit of the doubt about the damn pandemic. Let's be real. If you give a person the benefit of the doubt about how many people died during the pandemic when he told you to inject bleach into your system, there's nothing that we can say or do that's going to change their mind. Nothing. So I say that to tell you, stop trying to change their minds and keep doing the work. Keep doing the work that you need to do to make sure you and the people that you love around you are taken care of during this time. Because those people that didn't care about you when they went to the polls could give a damn about you right now with everything going on. That's just a fact. That's just a fact. When you don't have compassion, let me say it this way. When you have more compassion for a person who was unalived, that spewed vitriol and racist tones towards people, when you have more compassion for that person than you do for the everyday child who's just trying to grow up in this country that has nothing to eat because of policies that are being put in place, tells you more than you need to know about the people that you're dealing with. None of this has to do with immigration. None of this has to do with crossing borders or anything like this. This all has to do with control. Power, money, and power and control. Normally it's money, power, respect, but how can you respect anybody in doing what they're doing right now? Money, power, and control is what they're after. And the people that placated to this, that were complicit with everything we told them about, they won't change their tune. They won't. They will not change their tune. So stop trying to make them change their tune. It's not going to happen. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up for today. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I did have a mind, body, and soul, but we're a little bit over. You know what? Yeah, let's go ahead and get the mind, body, and soul. You know what? I'm going to give it to y'all today. This is one that I'm just prepare you. It's one we don't like to talk about, but it's something we need to talk about. Let's go. Mind, body, and soul, mind, body, and soul. It's the year 2025. Ooh, we almost over, y'all. And this year, we've been concentrating on the 3 Ps: purpose, power, and possibility. With purpose, I align my action. With power, I claim my strength. And with possibility, I embrace the endless opportunities that life offers. Today's mind, body, and soul. Let me just be clear, because I know there's a lot of people that don't like to discuss this. Me and my wife had this discussion a couple of weeks ago, and I thought it was something that I needed to bring up to you. Death. Let's talk death. See, when you say death, people, ooh, wait a minute. Ooh, why we got to talk about death? But I think we need to come to the realization that we don't fear death. We don't fear death. The biggest thing we fear is how we're going to die and when we're going to die. See, the fear is not the fact. I mean, if we're all grounded in our faith, we understand that this life will end someday. But have this discussion, me and my wife sat there, we talked about it, and the conclusion we came up with is that it's not that people fear the fact of dying. It's the fact of how and when. Because when you think about it, what's the first thing? And my niece posted this the other day, and I'll give her a shout out about it, but she really made me think, what's the first thing that people ask when someone dies? They ask how. Now, don't get me wrong, it's just a natural thing. Not saying it's right, not saying it's wrong, but it's a natural thing. How they die. Because we're curious, because we want to know how they died, and in the manner they died, because we think about ourselves and when it's our time. Now, as I said, this is a taboo conversation people don't want to talk about, but it's something that needs to be talked about. Because if you're grounded in your faith, as I mentioned, if you're grounded in your faith and you trust in God as you say you do on a daily basis, you always give it to God and have all these different things. Why are you so fearful of dying and seeing your maker? What brings that fear of death into your heart? If you talk about the pearly gates in heaven and the heavenly choir and all the different things we've heard through our lives, what is the fear? It's not about dying. It's about how and when. And a lot of us will say, well, if I had a choice, if I had a choice on how I would die, I think it would be, I want to be slow. I want to be painless. But we don't get that option. The one option you have, if you believe in your faith and you believe in God, is the fact of doing everything in your power to do everything you can to be in his presence at that time. That's what you can control. You can't control when. You can't control how. Unless you decide to take your life or something like that. But that's just a conversation. We're not going there. You can't control when. You can't control how. But you can control everything about how you walk in the days on this earth, of how you'll be viewed when that day comes. And I had this wrote down. It says, people say they're afraid to die, but that's not the truth. The truth, they're afraid of how they'll die, afraid of when. It's not the end that haunts them. It's the mystery behind it. Will it be sudden? Will it be slow? Will it be alone? Will it be remembered for something real or just buried with a phone full of selfies and half-finished plans? See, death isn't the enemy. Unlived purpose is. Death isn't the enemy. Unlived purpose is. Because I refuse to let the calendar dictate my legacy. I refuse to let the calendar dictate my legacy. Are y'all listening? Can you hear me? I refuse to let the calendar dictate my legacy. You don't control the choreography of your exit, but you do control the choreography of your impact. Stop fearing the unknown. Start mastering the known. Stop fearing the unknown, who, when, where, why, and start mastering the known. Now, today, I have 24 hours. Make it count. Who can I impact? How can I impact? What can I do for somebody in this 24 hours? The fear of death does not reside in any of us. What we fear is when and how. Stop living life. Stop living life like you know the expiration date, because you don't. Stop thinking in life about an expiration date. Start thinking life for what it has to offer. Stop looking at people when they're sick and thinking they ain't gonna make it. Because that exudes from you. That exudes from you when you visit people, when you talk to people. Stop. God has his arms wrapped around each and every one of us. It's up to us to receive those wrapped arms. Because at the end of the day, when it is the end of the day, you don't get to choose when or how. But one thing we know, you will die. And if you do everything right while you're living, the fear you should have is, am I living right? Not if I'm going to die, but am I living right? That's the fear. Am I doing everything I should be doing in the eyes of God? Because when he decides your job is done, you don't have any say. You can't dictate and say, hold on, give me 5 more minutes. I got to call somebody. Hold on, Lord, I'm not ready yet. When the day comes and he calls you home, you won't know how, you won't know when. But what you do know, he will call. You can't put him on hold. You can't send him the voicemail. When he calls, it's your time. Live with that. Stop fearing that and embrace that. And stop worrying about how. Stop worrying about when, because that's where the fear comes in. Every one of us has an expiration date. The only time that we know the expiration date of when we died is the obituary and the tombstone. Think about that. Think about that. I appreciate everybody tuning in today. And look, I know that's a deep one. A lot of us don't like talking about it, but it's something we need to talk about. Fear of death should not permeate through your body. Fear of dying should not permeate through your body. If your love of God is at the level that you say it is and you'll portray it is, nothing in this world should have you fearful of anything about dying. It's a fact of life. And we know this from the time we're young enough to understand up until today and tomorrow, as long as you're here. Take that with you this weekend. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I'll see y'all again next week. I love y'all. I'm back after 2 weeks, and I'll be back again next week. As I always say before I sign off, love yourself, love one another, keep your head up, and most definitely, keep your faith in God. He's never left you nor forsaken you. He has the final say. Live life to the fullest and stop guessing. Stop walking on eggshells and enjoy every 24 hours that he blesses you with in the morning when you wake up. That's all you got to do. That's all you can do. I love y'all. I'll see y'all next week. Peace.